Dark Souls is a game series known for its difficulty. It's praised for its hard but fair challenge. But is it really that fair? Dark Souls 1 in particular has some extremely player antagonistic design. From jump scares to falls into boss arenas that take out a large chunk of health. Sure, there are ways around these with proper knowledge of the game, but does knowing something beforehand really make it fair? One good thing about Dark Souls 1 design is that misery and bad luck aren't exclusive to the player. Instead, everything from NPCs to bosses suffer from pretty much the same bad luck as well. Some more than others. Today, we're not going to focus on the NPCs or the bosses. We're going to focus on the enemies themselves, the rank and file grunt force of Dark Souls that seem to have drawn the short straw when it comes to luck. That being said, hey, I'm Ray. I'm here to answer the questions you never knew you had, because despite what your teacher said, there definitely are such things as dumb questions. In today's dumb question, who is the unluckiest enemy in all of Dark Souls 1? Before we get to the video, though, a word from our sponsor. That's right, this video is brought to you by... What? What's that? This is my first video? No one knows who I am? No one's going to pay me for this? Well, rather than a word from our sponsor, a word to our sponsor. You. That's right, you. I just want to say a quick thank you for taking a chance on a new creator. Whether you're joining me here from the start, or you found me somewhere down the line and are just working through my video backlog, I appreciate it. Seriously. And hopefully I can assure you that this is the worst that it gets. Hopefully. Anyway, as we begin our trek through Lordran to find the unluckiest undead, we need to make an appropriate guide for this forlorn safari. And who better to be our guide than the one and only Miss Fortune? After listening to some lady rant at us, a knight throws a key into our cell and our hunt begins. We don't have to wait long to find our first contestant for Unluckiest Undead. That's right, the very first enemy in the game makes the list. We'll call him Adam. What makes Adam unlucky? Well, Adam here happens to be the first enemy that any new or experienced player comes by. He also happens to be right after the message that teaches the player how to do a light attack. And the player is equipped with the weakest weapon in the game. So while there are plenty of undead that don't fight back, Adam is one that is going to take the most punishment. And what's worse is when I say he doesn't fight back, he doesn't do anything to fight back. He just stands there. No attacks, no blocking, not even the ability to run away. The only saving grace is that most experienced players just run straight by Adam, saving him from death. But leaving him to his eternal torment, so not that much better. Moving on, after defeating the Asylum Demon, Miss Fortune makes it to Lordran proper, where the hunt continues. And it's not long before we come across our next contestant, or next two contestants. Groups have been added to the possibility list. I've decided that right now. Shut up, it's my video. Meet the Taurus Demon Archers. Their plight is a small one. They were placed in a bad spot. Not only is any undead that comes across the chosen undead lucky, these two have to deal with a demon too. And the second they take their eyes off the demon, well, you see what happens. Moving along, we come to some strong contenders for the number one spot of unluckiest enemy, the Bridge Crew. Imagine being charged to protect a bridge known as the Hellkite Drake Bridge. Why is it called that? Because a giant fire-breathing dragon lives on the bridge. Okay, it's a drake, I know the difference. But what makes this even more of a doomed fate is that they are really close proximity to a bonfire. Not only do they burn alive anytime the chosen undead pops their head out, they do so about once every 15 seconds. Not only are they burned alive, but due to their easy access to over 500 souls, their fate is pretty sealed when it comes to dying over and over again. To make their fate even worse, if the player is doing a challenge run or happens to come across a weapon like the Black Knight Ultra Greatsword, There's going to be a lot of grinding in the future, because guess who are the easiest targets to meet the stat requirements early on in the game? Well, it's actually not the bridge crew. It's the enemies I like to call the starting class crew. They're the guardians of the forest that each fall into a starting class mold. They give several thousand souls every time they die, and there's a really easy way to kill them, and that is, well, you can see. Honestly, while they're much easier and quicker to grind than the bridge crew, I kind of struggle knowing whether or not to put them on this list, because are they unlucky or are they just really dumb? Because again, you see what they're doing, but maybe poor programming is a manifestation of ill-fated luck in and of itself. Anyway, after building up some stats and ringing some bells, we make it all the way to Sen's Fortress, the site of our next contestants. I would consider most of the Snake Men to have some sour luck. They're given a fortress of traps to protect, but they themselves don't seem to understand how the traps work. I mean, there definitely was a Snake Man behind me. And this guy, he just wants to take a nap, but, well, you know what happens. And this one seems to have it the worst. Our next contestants technically aren't in Lordran, at least I don't think so. I'm not really sure how the geography of the painted world works. Anyway, due to their misfortune, the Phalanx are strong competitors for the unluckiest undead in the game. Even if they weren't worth a decent amount of souls and an easy farm at the mid-game point, just look at them. I'm really not sure what fate made them look like this, but it definitely looks painful. They're slow, they're weak, and I'm starting to feel bad about this one. Let's just move on. The next group, and again, I struggle to include this in the contenders since, screw them. But the next group is Nito's Skeleton Squad. To go hollow is enough of a misfortune in and of itself. To lose all hope, all humanity, to be a walking husk. Now lose that husk and just become a pile of bones. The only upside is that no matter how much punishment you take, they always seem to come back. However, when you're stuck in a room with a boss who really doesn't care about you, whether you're being slammed or exploded, that coming back can be a punishment in and of itself. And heck, even if you manage to get rid of Nito, the skeletons die too. They don't even get to stick around to be free from their captor. After the Deadheads, we have, well, more Snake Men. In the Crystal Archives, we have this Snake Man in particular to guard us. His lack of luck comes more from the fact that he has such low vigor and was still decided to be the one to guard us. He died to 2 damage. That's really sad. How sad. But right after him, we have the Pisakas. Their luck, or lack of, has more to do with their lore than with their mechanics. While I'm not a Dark Souls scholar by any means, my understanding is that these were once normal women who were captured by the Channelers and experimented on by Seath. If that's correct, their luck sucks. Not to mention that there are 2 docile ones after several of the Pisakas try to kill you already, leaving most players want to kill them before realizing that they are passive. After one group of transformed terrors, we have the infected followers of the Daughter of Chaos. This group may or may not be unlucky. Not really sure. It really depends on whether their transformation was voluntary or not. They definitely spread the infection involuntarily to those who come by, or at least they try to. But even if this was their choice, they couldn't have realized how painful this transformation would have been. I mean, just look how slow and agonized they look as they crawl around. This one even seems to be praying for sweet release. And the final contestant for the most ill-fated of Lordran's residents is near the end, or the beginning, or it's not Lordran, or not Lordran yet. Time travel's dumb. We're going to the DLC. Imagine living in a town, minding your own business, and then everybody else dug a little too deep and unleashed a hell on Earth. This hell transformed you into a disfigured monstrosity. And then, through no fault of your own, you're hunted down and executed. That's the fate of the Ulasil residents. And this one in particular was never even given a fighting chance. He was placed in a cutscene to be killed just to show how awesome another enemy is. Then to add disrespect to loss of luck, he gets flung at the player, seemingly just for intimidation. And there you have it. Those are our top contestants for the unluckiest undead in all of Lordran. So let's look at who takes the cake. Or trips over a rake. I don't know. Anyway, here's the top 3. In third place, I'd have to put the Ulasil Resident. He gets skewered just for show. While his bad luck is pretty high up there, he only has to die once, because the cutscene never plays again. So, he skates by. In second place, we have the tinderbox that is the Hellkite Drake Bridge crew. Compared to everyone else on this list, they're one of the few groups of enemies that's going to die regardless of playstyle. Whether you're playing for the first time, killing all bosses, or doing a challenge run, this bridge is almost guaranteed to be crossed, and therefore the crew is guaranteed to get burned. And in first, we have the Phalanx of the Painted World. Grotesque and sad, all at the same time. They were locked in a world away from their home and turned into, well, that. And while it's no guarantee that the chosen undead will mercilessly slaughter them over and over again for their souls, it's almost worse if they don't. There seems to be some fates that are worse than death itself. And there you have it, the unluckiest enemies in all of Dark Souls 1. I'm curious if you agree with the top 3 list, or if maybe I missed somebody who should have been on the list of contenders in the first place. Let me know down in the comments. I'm also curious what other dumb questions you all might want answered in the future. I already have some more questions lined up for the Souls series, but I also have some questions for other games, like Skyrim and Fallout, and even Mountain Blade Bannerlord. I may even try out some new games and give my thoughts and review on them before answering some stupid questions about those too. If any of that sounds interesting to you, or maybe you just like my voice, maybe consider subscribing. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video, but until then, I hope you have a great day and that you know that you matter in this world. Take care.